I was thinking the other day because people online, especially on Techno Twitter, were having a bit of a argument and debate about DJs and all this sort of malarkey. The usual boring stuff that they speak about when it comes to the same old people within that whole business techno scene. And it got me thinking, you know what, right? I'm not really that bothered that there has supposed to be a small contingency. That? No. Yeah, I'm not really that bothered. It happens to be a small group of DJs that happen to make absorbent amount of money out there, right? I don't really have that much of a problem. I think, you know what, it's not to my taste, but go ahead, make your money. If people want to pay you for it, it is what it is. The only issue I kind of have with it from an artistic point of view and just from an idea of kind of furthering the sound and broadening everyone's kind of collective taste, and I mean that overall worldwide, because I think about that Fran Lebowitz quotes where she basically said that another thing that people overlook about the AIDS epidemic in the, was that 70s and 80s in New York, right? In the kind of in the art scene. She said something that people overlook. Yes, it kind of ravaged the scene and, basically deprived us of some of our most legendary artists who didn't get to fulfill their potential and were taken away from us too soon. But it also kind of eviscerated the consumers and listenership, right? And the audience members, the fans, because they were very educated, right? They were very well versed because they happened to to dabble and to be interested in loads of kind of different mediums of art. The people that were practicing it and performing it were of a high caliber, so the audience were also had a very high taste level and artistic point of view, right? They know how to interpret things. They had to discern what was good, wasn't good. So part of the unintended consequences of the AIDS epidemic was the lowering of everyone's collective taste. And it gets me thinking about the business techno thing, and I think to myself, you know what? If you've got the ears of this many people at these garbage festivals playing the same old garbage tech house to the same people every year, or the same variations of different people, why not just try and further things and try and introduce them to other sort of sounds, right? And actually play something interesting. Why is everyone playing the same boring stuff? Because some of these guys will talk about, oh yeah, I get sent loads of demos and I'm listening to them in a hotel. No, you don't. They don't listen to them. I've heard a couple of these guys play in places. I can think of a couple of DJs who I won't name because they get all sensitive, but I've listened to a few of them playing different venues, and some of them will play the exact same set or the same variation of a set in two venues that happen to be in the same city. Not even thinking about maybe the same crowd was at that first party, blah, 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 or just trying to be an artist and try and mix things up again and take some risks. They don't want to do that. They just go for the lowest hanging fruit, the easiest way out of it, and collect their check and keep it moving. So that's the one thing that kind of disappoints me, the fact that they're all the same. They all look the same, even if they're different races. They basically are the same person. They're the same sort of aesthetic. They're the same sort of music selection, the same sort of style of playing. It's all really boring. So it got me thinking randomly about LSDXOX, who also happens to have a new EP out at the moment and a really cool interview and cover story on Mixmag, right? Really amazing. And it got me thinking, you know what, right? I know LSDXOX is really good DJ and obviously a great producer, but I wouldn't necessarily care if he was shit. I really wouldn't, because I think he's important to have in the scene just from what he looks like. It's important to have somebody like this be on a fairly big platform like Mixmag, a fairly commercial platform too like Mixmag, considering some of their tech house origins, and the fact that people like that sort of the people that like that sort of music basically read that sort of magazine. It's just important to have somebody like LSD exist in the scene just based on what LSD looks like. Only for that alone, because it's just far more interesting to see somebody like this playing, right, at a festival, at a club night somewhere in your local area, right, than actually seeing the same, monotonous, all black, dour faced, boring, hands in the air, Jesus flipping pose thing behind the booth playing. It's just boring. It's really, really boring. Now, obviously, it helps that, creatively, and in terms of image and in terms of sound, it all kind of correlates, and the synergy between it. This new EP called, I think, Dedicated to Disrespect is banging. I'm going to play a couple of tracks now, but there's a quote here at the end of the interview that LSD speaks on that kind of echoes some of my thoughts. Obviously, some of the pictures here are flipping awesome. There's a quote here right towards the end. That's something that I've definitely been thinking about, if I can get it. It's here. There we go. There you go. There you go. Scroll up. There we go. So it's here. Yeah. So the interview asks the following. Timely too. It's like that. It's like what a moment to produce a work that is beyond the homogeny of a whitewashed dance music, especially in Berlin, right? And then Alex says the following. The most important thing for me moving forward is not to be comfortable when given a platform, but instead to shake up the system a bit and open some of those doors for other artists that come from different upbringings and backgrounds, building a bigger space for people like myself. So I'm not the only black person on the lineup. That's so boring. There's this clear erasure of black history from black music over the decades, where all the money and visibility are given to white artists. It helped to me to realize how important it is for me to actually be visible as an artist. I think it's important to show people that you can do glam and camp here without diluting the importance of the craft, which is so important, right? So important. But it also annoys me that LSD has to be in a position to be the person to shake things up and to kind of say like, hey, just because I'm the only black person on the lineup, I don't want that to be the only thing. I want there to be a conversation about having more people in the lineup. It shouldn't be his responsibility. It should be the responsibility of the event organizers, the people putting these festivals together, to go out there and try to accurately reflect what this music is actually about, what this scene is about, who the people are actually shaping things and influencing things on a whole different level. Because I refuse to believe some of these awakening lineups things are what actually is shaping the sound of, the music that we're all listening to. I refuse to believe it, because most of those people in those lineup, number one, don't produce their own stuff. Number two, are fairly mediocre DJs. And number three, they're not influencing jack shit. You know what I mean? They're grabbing the trends from the underground that people are actually playing in these, dilapidated clubs and in these kind of, makeshift venues. And then they're the ones that are proliferating it into the mainstream without really giving adequate credit. And then the festival organizers and the event bookers are also not booking these people because why? Because in their head they don't sell tickets, but how is that person gonna be able to sell tickets if you're not giving them the platform in order to play in front of that crowd? It's just a whole complete shit show. And I would very much like if there was a bit more synergy, a bit more of a link between the underground and the big clubs out there, or the big festivals, in terms of being like, you know what, let's at least dedicate one festival stage. Let's at least dedicate a few slots in our lineup to some of these people just to mix up a bit and make it a bit more interesting. Because who really wants to see and hear another Deborah DeLuca set? Who wants to hear or see that? No one. No one wants to hear another Adam Bayer set. We don't care. Do you know what I mean? We know what it's going to sound like. Same old nonsense. Do you know what I mean? Allow us, like, freshen it up a little bit. And again, maybe they have their space, they have this place they can, adopt to the left over there in the industry. They can play at all the ADEs they want to play at. But in terms of actually inspiring a whole generation of new kids that are coming up and kind of, setting a precedent in the scene, just pushing things forward and being a bit more interesting, why are you just booking those same people? It's just so boring. It really is boring. As much as I love Sven Var, like, do we really need to see him on another big festival lineup again? Really? Have you not got enough Svenvar videos, streams, mixes, performances, and places that he's played at that you really need to see him play at another festival, at another club again? Like, oh, not another club again. I'm not trying to take his life away from him, but you know what I mean. Like, come on. But I guess it's the same with Hollywood, right? No one knows how to move aside because it's a great life, right? Who wants to grow up? Who wants to really go back into being an actual adult when you could get away with kind of suspending your old age by being a quote-unquote artist? You're not really, because you're basically playing other people's music, but you kind of are, because obviously to be a great DJ is a form of artistry in itself. But you get to suspend, the amount of time that you spend being an adult by just being a DJ and pretending and playing kind of like make-believe and hanging out with kids and being around young people energy, but also being a little bit uptight and also not really having a diverse friendship group yourself, but pretending you do because people come to your party and all this sort of nonsense. I don't know, man. I think it's really disappointing, but what can you do? But more importantly, LSDXOX, I always get that mixed up, my tongue twister, has got a new EP out at the moment on XO Recordings, available now on Bandcamp. I think the vinyl is sold out, I'm pretty much sure of it. Last time I checked, yep, his vinyl is sold out still, so that is a good look for LSDXOX. But yeah, the album is out at the moment. My favorite track, I think, from it, I'm going to play a little bit of, is a track called Baby. So this is Baby, courtesy of LSDXOX, courtesy of Bandcamp. Get it now wherever you can find tunes. anyway, check that out. Definitely check that out. Dedicated Disrespect, available now on Bandcamp, and I'm assuming other places. Obviously, the vinyl sold out, but the MP3 is available on Bandcamp.